reformers tree. We're actually like one tree away from where the whole Turvan Horde are gathered.
Turving.
And I'm here with Isla Mack from Parents Against Gender Ideology in Schools. And I know lots and lots of people who like my safeguarding videos love Isla's channel and vice versa. So we figured that you might enjoy a little live video.
Yeah, and it's been so good to catch up with each other.
Yeah.
Having a little turvy turv in London at Standing for Women.
Yeah, as ever, it's fantastic. I mean, I've only been to the London one other time.
It makes a big difference from Bristol. No loads of
You're not
Antifa
kidding.
all shouting.
You're not kidding. I do not envy you that at all. Although I do plan to come to Brighton in September.
You have to be at Brighton. Well, it's been the biggest week ever, hasn't it? So much has gone on.
Yeah. I'm gonna talk about it probably if I ever get around to it. If I ever actually put my hand up and speak, I'm gonna have a little chat about it, because I did a video last night about it. The whole thing that's happened with the Tavistock and Portman this week is huge. It's huge. But like you were saying, I don't know if you've watched, Isla already spoke, and her speech will be part of Kelly J's live stream from today. I didn't take note of the time, did you?
No, I didn't actually.
But anyway, it was like maybe 5 speeches back from now, and it's now, I don't know what time it is now, do you?
3:20.
Yeah, probably about 3 o'clock. Yeah, huge news. So I really enjoyed what you were saying in your speech about how this is now the time that we need to be getting in there, getting into schools, getting into places. I'm going to talk about how we can influence our local health systems. That's what I wanted to talk about. You know all about that as well.
Do you want me to summarise some of the things that I talked about?
Yeah.
I mean, there was about, there's so many articles to catch up on. I mean, it's been a fantastic week for journalists. Kudos to all of them who've done so much work on them all. Essentially, what I was saying was that what we need now, we absolutely are desperate for the government to take serious statutory action, because none of this is impacting on schools, and parents are crying out because their kids, their level of lies and secrecy that's going on within schools is off the charts.
It's bonkers. Like you were saying in your speech about, you know, LGBT clubs springing up at schools where children are indoctrinated into the idea of having a gender identity from a really early age. I mean, there are parents who are finding children coming home at like 6 and 7 who are asking them questions that no child of that age should be asking, which is evidence of what's being talked about, and the books that they're accessing and being recommended by these activist teachers who are coming out of woke universities, going straight into your children's schools with an agenda. Yeah, please do.
Well, it's these third-party organisations who are basically just making lots of money, and they're just making all of this stuff up, basically. And the schools are believing them, and most of what they're telling them is lies. You know, I mean, there's no such thing as gender identity in law, so they're getting away with it. You know, they're effectively transing kids without their parents' knowledge. They're making them incorrectly sexed kids. The whole concept of the trans child is damaging.
Yeah, my NCS video is still not finished because it's turning into a bit of a mammoth undertaking. But if you look at the numbers of kids that are going through the program and are declaring a trans identity, it's increasing. And like I spoke to the guy on the phone about it, and I said, look, is this because the cohort of kids throughout the country are increasing in number in a trans identity, or is it something that's happening on your program? Because I think it's both. I think it's both, that a lot more children are being exposed to this ideology and are, you know, signing on to it with a view to, you know, this is a way to be popular. I finally found somewhere to fit in because I've always been socially awkward. These are my people because they are also socially awkward. A lot of this is to do with neurodiversity. Some of it is to do with trauma reactions. these are generally kids who are the kids with identified mental health needs or pastoral needs at school who are being recommended into these clubs, and then of course they're being gobbled up by this cult. They're being fed into the gender meat grinder, which is how I see it nowadays, and it's absolutely terrifying. Parents, please go to your children's schools. Watch Isla's videos. She's done an excellent series on how to prepare yourself for those conversations at school, because I know it's really anxiety inducing, the idea that you're going to be talking to those teachers and they're going to have opinions about your opinions.
Do it. Get in touch. I'm gonna do one with a Scottish group. So we're going to cover some of what's going on in Scotland. They've got so many different things planned. Get in touch if you want help. Yeah, there's so much work to be done. It's literally a full-time job at the moment, and I'm not going to stop really until we get this sorted out.
No, we've got to get it sorted. And in the same way, I'm going to encourage people to get involved in your local healthcare system. Find out about when your health and wellbeing board are meeting, find out who's on the committees from your local council and go and lobby them. There are ways to get involved. There are board meetings that you can attend as a member of the public. You have the right to ask questions. You have a right to demand that the governors of these foundation trusts are held to account for the choices they're making about what they fund. And that's the big thing that is going to be the change now that they've closed down the Tavistock and Portman. Well, they haven't closed it yet, they're closing it in the spring. The big change is going to be that they're going to have to defend those choices at a local level. And it's a little bit like, I was in bed last night and it occurred to me that it was similar to the situation in America where they overturned Roe versus Wade and sent all the decisions about abortion back to the various states. And of course, that is terrible, terrible news for a lot of women who live in states where there are already very, very adamant, what they're called, forced birth kind of representatives in charge of all the political levels. But it does mean that you have an opportunity to put that argument locally, because most women don't have the opportunity to go to an NHS England board meeting and lobby that. You do have the opportunity to go to your local NHS Foundation Trust board meeting. We are not living in the States. We do not have these massive spaces that we have to navigate. We've got, counties and areas that are well within a day's drive for any of us to get to any of the major cities.
We need to get Annex B scrapped. We need to keep lobbying for that as well. Get single-sex spaces solidified.
Absolutely. And actually, another thing is that at the moment the Tory leadership race is going on, and I've today on the train down here, I've been writing letters to Rishi Sunak and to Liz Truss, saying, there are a whole lot of women out there who are voting on this single issue. Where do you stand on the right of women to women-only spaces? Where do you stand on defending women-only prisons, refuges, hospital wards, changing rooms, toilets, sports teams? Because this is important, and it's really critical at this time that we make politicians aware that we are going to vote depending on this issue. You might be a Labour MP, but you can't count on our vote. Not if you're gonna publicly say that men can access our spaces. Why would I vote for you? And I'm somebody that really needs a Labour government in a lot of ways. I mean, it's terrifying, the prospect of the energy price rises and, the fact that people on low fixed incomes and benefits and so on, our wages haven't kept pace with anything. But the projection is that the energy bills this year will be greater for 1 year than the entire year's universal credit.
Wow. I don't know. I do know that the letter writing and the lobbying that women have been doing so far in this leadership campaign has been getting through.
Definitely.
And has been making a big difference.
Definitely.
So they definitely need to continue doing it.
Yeah, Liz Truss particularly has really set out her stall as saying she's not going to back down on this. She's going to back women to the hilt. And, the thing is, women will back her. women do lean more Conservative voting than Labour voting. Naturally, that's something that we see, demographically. And Labour are going to lose a lot of votes to Conservatives if they come through with a Liz Truss leadership that's going to defend our spaces. It's going to be a very good offer that they make.
Well, no matter what party people are in, they just keep it up because it's making all the parties have to sit up and take notice.
Ideally, what we want is for every single party to have to give out a statement saying, "Well, we're in defence of that as well. We also promised that," because that's how it should work. We shouldn't be dependent on one party for this. This should be standard across all parties. This is just, defence of reality. So lots and lots to do. So I've got a couple of quick questions for you. What is the most popular question what is the most common question that parents email you about, Isla?
Oh my god, it's so diverse. I get a lot of toilets. I get a lot of toilet problems because certainly during COVID, a lot of the schools literally swapped them all to gender neutral.
Yeah, they did, didn't they?
So there's quite a lot of that, but there's a lot of enforced secret transing. Going on, and their kids are suddenly coming home.
And see the police van just circling us over there.
And basically, parents being pushed out and not being kept, being treated as hostile, essentially. Kids being punished for getting confused, tripping up, not using. For correctly sexing, essentially,
and for questioning teachers that express a gender. That's outrageous.
Just basically being gaslit by schools not taking notice of the interim cash review. All just anytime they try and challenge them, the school's just lying to them basically about what their role is. It's just so much. It's just mind-boggling. It is literally a full-time job trying and get it all unravelled.
The thing is that it's more than a full-time job for one person. This is what flipping unions are for. This is what the Labour Party's for. This is what all of our institutions should have been doing, Isla. It shouldn't be left to individual women breaking our backs in our own, unpaid time trying to get this stuff stopped. But if we don't do it, nobody else is going to do it. So you can't stop doing it. I think one thing that I'd want to say to any parents that are watching is to keep the faith with this, because it does change. Things do change. If you have a really recalcitrant head, keep going, because heads will leave. Heads move on.
I have to say that the successes that I've had, they've not been on the first go. I have literally gone in and in and in and in and in multiple times before I've finally won. Do not just think that you'll just bowl them over on the first go. Be very persistent, and you will get there in the end, because we have the momentum behind us now. Now's the time, though. You have to go now. It cannot get better than this.
Yeah. And also, that's also true for the children, because you may be in a position where you have a child who is expressing ideas that they've picked up from these various groups and teachers and activists, and that can be very, very distressing as a parent. And it's very important that what you do is you hold the line. For safeguarding reasons, we are not doing this. Yes, you may be told that in school, but we are not doing that. Yes, that may be what that teacher thinks is true, but we don't all have to think the same way, because we don't live in Iran. We're allowed to think differently about things. And it's really, really important that parents hold the line. And I guarantee you that 80+% of parents that do that will have a child that comes back to you by the end of puberty and says, that was a really messed up time.
Yeah, exactly. Just say no.
But I'm okay. Because actually that's what all of our old studies used to show before kids were being told a whole load of hooey.
Absolutely.
And it's still true. And it's still true. And I'm now at the point where I'm seeing friends of my children who are now detransitioning, re-identifying, and who are basically just, you know, scrubbing it out. It's like their emo phase.
It didn't really happen.
And that will happen. That will happen.
Really
a lot more. We need to go because we're both really stiff. We're sitting at the bottom of the tree because it's cute.
I've got a bit of a disc bulge. Yeah.
Do you want me to literally walk on you?
Do a massage.
I'll do.
We won't do that live then.
So anyway, listen, it's been great to have you on the channel, and I'm going to go back and dive in and probably repeat a whole load of stuff that Heather Brunskill Evans said a lot better than me. Why not? So listen, I might even have an ant in there, possibly. That's not very professional to notice that. I suppose you're supposed to just continue on. You just continue through it all. So listen, do come to Speaker's Corner next time. It's in London, but also book on Eventbrite to come to Brighton.
It's going to be big.
It's going to be big. There's going to be a lot of people there. It's a very different atmosphere to the atmosphere here. Come here for real sisterhood, a real positive energy coming off everybody here. Brighton, be prepared to face.
With your earmuffs.
Yeah, I've got earplugs with me today just in case, because I do think that just wear earplugs. It's nonsense. It's nonsense. Anyway, so take care. Thanks very much, Isla. See you again very soon. So that's it.